Okay, writers, so we just watched a clip from Up. It's the beginning of the movie. A lot of you asked what are we supposed to learn from this? What are we supposed to be, why are we looking at this? Why are we watching? Today, I want to teach you that authors sometimes make characters travel through time and place. So they often use a flashback or they use a flash forward. Writers do this to highlight meaning. You can imagine future events or you can remember past ones that connect with what the story is really about. So the beginning of the movie Up, how many people have watched that movie before? Awesome. So this movie begins with a giant flashback and then it builds the rest of the story. Think of the meaning behind the movie Up. We know, does anybody remember his name? Mr. Carl. No, that's the kid. Mr. something. The old man in the movie, he's alone and he's upset. And thank you. If you haven't started talking, I really appreciate that. But he's alone and he's upset, and that flashback really shows us why. We wouldn't know why he's alone and why he's grumpy and why he's upset had we not had that flashback.
I did. Huh?
I didn't ask. Thank you. I'm sorry. I was just waiting for the talking to stop. Because I knew if somebody was talking in the middle of this, it has to be like super, super important. Are we ready? Okay. So we're going to look at another example of an author flashing back or flashing forward in order to emphasize meaning, just like in the movie Up. So this is called Papa Who Wakes Up Tired in the Dark by Sandra Cisneros. Your abuelito is dead, Papa says, early one morning in my room. Está muerto. And then, as if he just heard the news himself, crumples like a coat and cries. My brave Papa cries. I have never seen my Papa cry and don't know what to do. If you're following along on the board, thank you. I know he will have to go away, that he will take a plane to Mexico. All the uncles and aunts will be there, and they will have a black and white photo taken in front of the tomb with flowers shaped like spears in a white vase, because this is how they send the dead away in that country. Because I am the oldest, my father has told me first, and now it is my turn to tell the others. I will have to explain why we can't play. I will have to tell them to be quiet today. My Papa, his thick hands and thick shoes, who wakes up tired in the dark, who combs his hair with water, drinks his coffee, and is gone before we wake, today is sitting on my bed. And I think if my own Papa died, what would I do? I hold my Papa in my arms. I hold and hold and hold him. So this story follows a certain path. In the beginning, it starts with your grandfather died. It moves on to my Papa cries, and then we flash forward. So it says, I think of what will happen. Now he's thinking of the future. He'll fly to Mexico. The relatives will come together. They'll take pictures by the grave. So that's our flash forward, and Up it was a flash back. As we move on, now we're back to the present. I think of how I'll have to tell the other kids. My Papa is sitting on my bed. I realize I'm hiccuping. He could die and tug him. I want to try and do this in my writing, but I need your help. So I started an outline for myself. This is Vestal Voices. That is a real picture. I zoom in. That's Vestal Voices. I'm somewhere up in here. That's Mr. Powell. Those are the green robes that I talked about. So I started my outline. So I went through the story that I'm writing so far, and I said, stepping onto the risers, holding hands. Then Mr. Powell says, heart on fire, brain on ice. Then the concert begins. The last song approaches. I become emotional. And then I noticed in my writing, I said, I wonder what it will be like without Vestal Voices. So I thought I might be able to do a flash forward, imagining the future, but I'm going to need your help. And then at the end, I jumped to the paragraph of what I learned. So we know in my story, my problem is that I've hit the last song, and now I'm panicking. What's it going to be like? What's going to change for me? So now I want to flash forward. Does anybody have any ideas of what could happen in my flash forward? So I'm wondering, what will my life be like without Vestal Voices? Take some time to think, then I'm going to let you turn and talk, and I need your help. I need your suggestions. So go ahead and think for about 10 seconds. I'm going to pause this for a little bit. Actually, I'll let it keep going. We'll see. I didn't pause it when I had paused the video. Now turn and talk. What could I do in my flash forward? Please help me with some ideas. What? No? Yeah. I said at the end of the mini lesson. What? I want to try a flash forward into the future, but if you have some ideas for a flashback, I'll take those too. I'm thinking of a flash forward where I say, I wonder what it would be like. Then I'll describe. Flash forward. 8 years later. Here's what it is. Something like that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Class, class. Class, class. So I have listening faces back. I'm looking for them. I'm looking for listening faces. So I see a couple of hands up in the air. What could I do for my flash forward here? Cadence. Maybe I'm a music teacher. I'm gonna put question marks on all of these. What else could happen in my flash forward, Dominic?
Everything would be seem warm and on ice. Like what I mean by on ice.
I like what you did there. He's thinking of the heart on fire, brain on ice. He's like, there's no more fire, it's all ice. I like that. That's a cool way to tie that together too. And notice with this, become a music teacher. Am I a music teacher? No, but is it okay in my personal narrative to fluff things a little bit? Yeah, because I'm writing a story. Even though it's inspired by my life, I'm still writing a story, and I gotta entertain, right? What else could and I am still a teacher, right? What else could I do, Jasmine? Maybe I'm still singing. I did take some voice lessons this summer. I did, yeah. For fun, because I missed singing. So I was still singing. I took some voice lessons from Mrs. Powell, from Mr. Powell's wife. She was my old voice lesson teacher.
Can you sing for us?
Maybe someday. What else could I do? Well, I've got room for, I think, one more here. Matthew, what else could I do in my flash forward?
Like when you were upset, when you were upset with Festival Voices.
So just show like me in the future being upset? So what's that, Manny? My life just falls apart. My future is just me on the couch with potato chips because music isn't in my life anymore. Oh, that'd be awful. Class, class? Class, class? Yikes. Class, class. Thank you. Okay, so what I would do is then I would go into my story. I followed my outline, and then I said, what would it be like when Vestal Voices is over? I could go in here, and I could add a flash forward. I could see it now. And then I can choose one of those ideas and start writing. So this is my flash forward. I could see it now. I picture myself. I'm going to go with, I picture myself and some of my happiness is gone. What used to be heart on fire, brain on ice, has become just ice. So I'm giving a glimpse into the future. So I'm giving a glimpse into the future. So today and every day in your writing, something that you can do is use a flashback, or you can use a flash forward, or you can use any of the techniques that we've gone over in writing class so far. And we've gone over a lot of techniques in writing class. There we go. We've gone over paragraphing. I wasn't here in person, but I was here on video. We went over paragraphing. We went over strategies for elaborating. Again, I wasn't here in person, but I was here on video. I sat and pretended you were there and taught it the same way.
You said class.
Mm-hmm.
And I said yes.
We've come up with strategies for raising the level. We have so many tools in our toolkit for writing. Today, try a flashback or a flash forward.